Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. In today's video, we have a couple different pieces of news. We have PayPal in the news, SoFi, Block, Coinbase, Open Door, if we end up getting that far into the show. Then a bunch of stuff from Tesla, AI companies, NVIDIA soaring. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about there as well. So strap in. Aside from that, we finished out another week of trading, and what is going to end up opening tomorrow or on Monday, next time the market opens. Not too much in terms of earnings, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, packed. Okay. So next week is full. People were calling me saying, hey, Tanner, what are you doing next week? I said, don't call me. Let's talk in a month. Okay. Time to get serious. Hang up. Sorry, Dad. Call you later. Okay. I'm busy. I'm kidding. I always take my dad's call. But, we have to get busy next week. Lots of stuff to cover. We have the Super Bowl coming up. All right. That being said, let's first jump into SoFi earnings. Do you guys want to get into that? So I've obviously made my predictions. We've talked about it a couple times on this show. Yesterday, we actually shown off that Roy and, Tevis, Kyle, the stock goat, these guys have put in their predictions as well, which came out to be pretty interesting. If we end up going and checking this out really quickly, just as a refresher, we can see that I am actually on the lower end in terms of the people who are bullish. Now, I don't think I'm bearish. I'm way higher than analyst predictions. I think just some of these reports are just a little bit too out there. Okay. If it's up to me, I think 870 million is pretty, excited. 92 million of net income, I think, is pretty excitable as well. And then in terms of member counts, I think we're all decently in the right area. However, I think 825,000 is shy. We'll see. That's not a big add from what we saw last quarter. I think we were at 810, something like that last quarter. After you take off all the customers that had churned off, it was like 788,000. So I actually think it'll be on the upper bound range of that. They said that they would be increasing their sales and marketing and their efforts there. However, what we ended up seeing is that Data-Driven Investing had just posted his predictions for SoFi earnings, and it's pretty interesting to come in and compare. Now, if we go back to, we can always bring up the stock goat earnings. Actually, maybe I can just share it this way. Yeah, maybe this will do. What we'll do is this. Okay, so Data-Driven Investing. Guys, make sure if you're not following his Substack, www.datadinvesting.com, you can end up seeing his posts on his Substack here. However, let's go through and just see a quick glance. Obviously, he's going to have more detail than what I'm just showing off here. I just want the raw numbers to compare versus the rest of the gang here. But another record quarter expected of 835,000. Okay, so if we go ahead and compare that on a member basis, that puts him right near the top between the 840,000 crew and the 835,000 crew. Okay, originations he has for personal loans at 5.8 billion. Let's see what I have. I just need to, is it in forecasting? Personal loan originations, I'm at 576. So we are like right at the exact same level here. Where is it? Right here. So 576. Student loans, he has 1.1 billion. I have 1.17 billion, just a little bit higher there. Home loans, 550 million. I have 700 million. So I'm much more bullish on the home loan side, a little bit more bearish on the student and personal loan side. Okay. Now, what else? The other things that Data-Driven Investing had looked at was lending revenue of 457 million. I had lending revenue of 437 million. 457 to 437. So he's expecting 20 million more. That's quite the step up. Financial services, he has at 322 million. I have at 334 million, so more growth there. I think that's probably a little bit of me saying that there's going to be more growth in the loan platform business than lending. I think that lending will be explosive, but a lot of it will be done through their platform rather than just financial services. And then the tech platform, he thinks was, I think it was 106. I don't see it here. Yeah, 106. There it is. 106 million in revenue. I had 102 to 103. And then he also had 44 million of corporate revenue, which I had 40 million. Now, if you take off a little bit of additional extra tech revenue and subtract that off of the corporate revenue, we roughly have the exact same estimates for the most part on revenue. He was, 10 or so million or 20 or so million higher on lending, 10 or so million less than on financial services. So we came pretty much in line. 840 million in total adjusted revenue. I came in at 835 million. By the way, all of these predictions are so much higher than what Wall Street is coming in at. So I think that there's a potential that either we are looking at the macro a lot differently than they are, and they think that it might be slower. Maybe they've done some channel checks to say that, that this is going to be slower than what we expect. But we've seen from previous quarters that Wall Street is just wrong on this company. That's sort of the thing that I keep thinking about is like, should I double check myself because 15 to 20 analysts disagree with me? And I mean, every single one of us as retail analysts who, to be honest, we come way closer to the targets than Wall Street does. But is that going to continue to happen, every single quarter going forward? I just can't believe that they're going to be this off every single time without learning. And then just to quickly summarize a little bit more from DDI is that adjusted EBITDA, he said 223 million, and net income, he said 83 million, which came in at 7 cents. I actually think that's bang on of what I have. I have 233 and 83 million. What did he say for 223? I said 233. Okay. And 83 million of net income, EPS, both of 7 cents. Me and him are like this on the brain sync. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. As time has gone on, like as analysts, we've been very separated from a lot of the numbers that we've done and the member predictions and everything. And then as time has gone along, we've just gotten a lot better at, knowing where to check in order to figure out what we think new members is going to come in at, how we break down the growth in financial services, lending, tech platforms. So yeah. He also added in a couple of thoughts about how they think that they're going to be pushing out some sort of new product knowledge in these types of quarters. That's how we learned about the Blue Owl deals. That's how we learned about large securitizations, talking about crypto, level 1 options, these sort of things. I think that's absolutely true. That's one thing that I think that we should highlight more often is that although, Robinhood does a lot of event days, which I wish SoFi did as well, SoFi seemingly does it through earnings calls very often. Unlike most companies that usually jump into Q&A or something like this, or do not do any wrap-up sort of speeches, like if you remember Google's wrap-up, it was, hey, thanks for joining the call, goodbye. But it's like really interesting the way that Anthony Noto and team does it, where they really want to show off a lot of their work, show the homework a little bit, and show what they're working on before it actually comes out. And I just wish that they broke it down. Maybe did something at SoFi Stadium, SoFi Center. I think that would be super cool. You could televise it and make investors really interested. Like, literally word for word exactly what Robinhood does, I think should be the new age way of doing things. Who am I? Quite biased. Yep, Sydney Sweeney in a post would actually be good too. Guys, by the way, I did something. Can we quickly take a pause? I bought a new stock today. A stock that is in the community fund that I did not have in my own personal portfolio, that I actually started a very small position in to take advantage of what I think will be quite a large move. Now, it's a small position. The smallest position I think I have in my portfolio, besides HIMS, which should be in the community fund as well. I mean, that's not even really in my portfolio. So it's very unlike me to buy a company like this. This is more in the trade category. I'm benefiting off of retail movements and a lot of momentum. But I do think that there's some actual upside here. People are saying, say it. I'm hoping for some guesses. I mean, I'm not seeing many. I'm seeing American Eagle Outfitters, UNH, BMNR, Krispy Kreme. No. I don't think we have any Krispy Kreme in the community fund, by the way. Figma, no. No one said it. Someone said a company that's very close to it. I would say the closest company to it would be BMNR. Oh, actually, Papa did say it. I ended up getting a position in SBET, which is not like me. It's not like me at all. I'm not saying for people to replicate this, but I just wanted to be honest about the fact that I did start a tiny position in SBET. I think that Ethereum is definitely going higher. And well, Toppy, I mean, it's fallen down to $22 and they're acquiring, 60,000 freaking Ethereum a week. I don't know. I like some of the corporate moves that they've been making that I ended up seeing today. I like the fact that they are, buying a token that I think has real utility as well as a yield, so they can benefit at least while waiting if it takes, Ethereum a little bit longer to go up over time. But yeah, I think that Ethereum will continue to climb higher. In the last 3 months, it's up 100%. And, even Scott Bessent said that stablecoins are going to 10 to 15x in usage, and that's just stablecoins. I think tokenization's coming in full force. I think you're probably going to see something along the lines of a 50 to 100x usage in blockchain just over the next couple of years. So why not take a small bet on that? Also, they got new leadership. Yeah, that's kind of what really made me pull the trigger today. Of most, I mean, I think it's a big piece of credibility, the same way that Tom Lee sort of came on for BMNR. So I sort of chose the one that has the less net asset value, while also going to be benefiting from large names that have a lot of pull. Isn't it the worst performer in the community fund? So not in terms of the actual loss, is it the worst perform? But there's a couple things here. So one, if you're talking about the actual performance of the business, like financials are terrible for SBET, but they're not. Okay, the actual company I'm not worried about. The treasury is not hard to understand, and that's the part that I'm going to be betting on. I'm betting on Ethereum, and so if you understand the underlying asset, then they will be fine, or at least the way that I see it. And I'm going to make the bet that they will be fine. I'm not saying BMNR's valuation is too high. I'm just saying it's slightly higher on a net asset value to SBET at today. It's been vice versa before, but not today. What do you mean community fund? We have a community portfolio. It's not a community fund, but it's a portfolio of mine that whenever people donate to the stream, I put it into their stock of their choosing. Now, we had a very large donation. It was $1,000 donation from a user Dookie Pie in chat to buy SBET while it was accelerating very quickly. So I think it was at like a $36, $37 price range, but it happened to be the top of the most recent run. So it had climbed, or it had dropped from 37 to 22%, which had made the community fund, because that was, that took up such a large percentage of the portfolio, that that made it drop. But it's not that like this is an extremely high volatility play. This is not going to be a forever position for me. Ethereum might be a forever position for me. And I've been an Ethereum holder for a long time, as well as Bitcoin and mostly in Solana as well. So I've been a large crypto bull. I'm just benefiting off of the large sell-off versus where I think it could go higher if markets continue to climb. It's not SBET versus BMNR. I think you're probably fine with either one, but I do think that Ethereum will go higher. I think that the treasury play has worked out. I think MicroStrategy has proven that. If the asset's going to go higher, and I think Ethereum has that potential for sure, as long as utilization keeps climbing. Coinbase, by the way, may be one of the most solid picks on betting on the treasury companies while not having to pick a winner or really play it at all. I mean, Coinbase themselves continues to buy and hold crypto on the books as well as USDC, and they are betting on a lot of these things. By the way, the company Circle that they've co-founded that runs USDC, it is a multi-chain stablecoin, but the high percentage of the volume is traded on Ethereum as well. So that does actually benefit, Ethereum as well. And Coinbase is a big part of this, but they also help with a lot of these companies and their actual treasury strategy. So Coinbase could be another way that people want to play this. I mean, yeah, it's just not going to be as leveraged. Tanner, you got 17 minutes in and Steven hasn't interrupted you. I honestly think I do not disturb my phone. Let's check. No, he hasn't actually. Maybe the guy's a little embarrassed. Okay, let's see. I only have $1,000 in Ethereum currently. I have no idea what that means versus the rest of your portfolio, but I don't know if that's a problem. I don't think that anyone has to try to meet my portfolio. I think that you should be buying companies that you think will, one, are easy to sleep at night, because sometimes you need to hold through volatile, periods. To talk about the size in which I made a bet on SBET, like I said, it's the smallest position I have. I'm not doing this with a large percentage of my portfolio. Now, how big, like Steven called me and he asked, how much would I put into crypto and blockchain? I said, you know what? I'd probably get as high as 10% of my entire net worth in Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, these sort of plays. So I do see it getting much higher, but it's not there right now. Not even close. Are you trying to grab any shares of Figma? No. I don't care about Figma. I mean, I hope people will, but yeah. I'm all in on Neo. Can't sleep. I mean, yeah, maybe you should maybe you should think about that strategy. I would not all in any position, but yeah. Are you bullish Microsoft? So I'm bullish Microsoft. I don't hold Microsoft. I like other names more, but I would not bet a dime against Microsoft. I think they'll do fine. I just don't know whether or not they'll do better than the positions that I'm currently holding. Very confident right now, like my three big names that I just cannot get enough of, honestly, Google, just bought more, Amazon, and Nvidia. I think these three names are going to crush. Where does Microsoft fit into that pile? I mean, I'm sure they'll do great, but I just don't know. I don't know where. Come on Tuesday. I know it can't come fast enough. I love listening to SoFi's earnings live with you guys. It's the most fun. Like, yeah, can't wait. Can't wait to do the recap on it. I just wish I was more involved with that company than I actually am. I know some people think that like somehow I'm getting paid by these businesses or something, but I ask them constantly to be on, if I could be on the earnings call, if I could do an interview with any of them, not even Anthony Noto, but any of the team. If, they did an investor day or a product day, if at all I could be there. Like, I want to be closer to this company than I actually am. But yeah, not asking a question on SoFi's earnings, not doing an interview, sadly. Microsoft is recession proof. Yeah, I think you could say that about almost every single big tech name. Am I going to do an Amazon video? I probably have an Amazon video, or like whenever they do earnings, I definitely will. But in terms of meaning like top 5 reasons to buy, I've done that for some of my bigger names, Google, Nvidia, SoFi, these sort of ones. Top 5 reasons to buy Amazon, I definitely could do. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to it at all. Write a handwritten letter. That would honestly prevent me from getting in. No one wants to see my handwriting. Nvidia or AMD in the next 5 years? I will pick Nvidia, but good luck to those that pick AMD. I don't think that you'll have a bad outcome there. I just really like buying the first place teams. There's a lot of people who suggest, second place always has a better valuation, these sort of things. I understand that, but it just usually never works out in history. Like, I'd pick Tesla over any of the other EVs. I'd pick CrowdStrike over Sentinel-1. I would pick NVIDIA over AMD. I would just continue to pick number ones versus the number 2 players. Nah, the underdog is the way to go. It's almost never the case. It's almost never the case. It just seems like the market continues to double down on winners. Yeah. What's the number one question you would ask SoFi on the earnings call if you could? Well, I'd like to see their earnings before I had any questions. It would almost definitely be about the loan platform business. The size of it, the scale of it, something along those lines whenever they report those earnings. Maybe if they're getting a take rate from helping securitize loan platform or loan sales for loan platform members, not loan sales, but loan securitizations. Tanner, you need a cybersecurity name. Just bite the bullet and buy some CrowdStrike. I think you're right. I'm not going to, but you are right. I just keep I don't know. You are right. I need to bite the bullet and buy Meta. I need to bite the bullet and buy CrowdStrike. There's actually probably a list of 10 names that I should have just bought before. But also the names that I have purchased with my capital, I'm also not regretting that. Except when you pick Airbnb over Booking Holding. Yeah, I mean, Nah. Airbnb is a giant. Yeah. I have no thoughts on any healthcare names, guys. I'm sorry, but I simply do not. It's not my space. What position of cash are you in at the moment, or all in? I'm essentially all in. I would say probably like 0.4% or something like this if I had to make a quick guess off the amount that I think I have in cash versus my actual portfolio size. Um, no, I've never taken any profit on my SoFi position. I've written covered calls in the past, not right now, but yeah. And none of the covered calls that I've ever written on SoFi have I had to actually close out or roll out. So um who would win in an arm wrestle, Noto or Vlad? I'd give it to Noto for sure. I've got a sneaky feeling dude's a monster. He's like captain of the West Point football team and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm sure he's old school tough. Um what time are you starting stream on Tuesday morning? That I think we will start it at 6:45, 6:55 a.m. right in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. That gives us maybe 5 minutes to brief before the actual report comes out. We'll go through the entire report, every single number with the entire crew. Then the earnings call starts at 8. 8 through 9 will be covered there. And then maybe, 9 to 9:30, we break down our thoughts on the call. Who would win in an arm wrestle, Noto or Steven Fiorillo? I would give it to Steven. Steven's insane. Steven is mad strong. He sent me a workout plan that he wants me to do for the next 2 weeks. And guys, like, if I shared this to you, you'd just be like, what? Like, what? I don't have all day. Yeah, I don't know. Dude's a monster. Steve drinks yogurt. Yeah, crazy insight, right? Tanner, how many hours do you sleep? This is somebody that heard about my sleep score on the last stream. Probably 8.5. Pretty consistently. I don't get less than 8. Like ever. How about Tanner versus Amit for an arm wrestling match? So arm wrestling is not, I don't really think of it as a bout of strength. There is some definite strategy to it. I've never really been a good arm wrestler. I still think I have Amit regardless, but in a bout of strength, I think I have him cleared. Like, pick an exercise of your choosing. I think I'd clear him. That's not to rub it in his face, but I think his form of working out right now is just cardio. That's it. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's nothing wrong with that at all. In that bout, Tevis has me. Tevis is a giant. If SoFi reaches $30 a share, Noto and Tanner, okay. Started reading too early. Do you own any Mercado Libre? Absolutely. Love Mercado Libre. Very, very happy with Mercado Libre. I think Tevis just celebrated his 45th. No, it's just his 40th. Yeah, he's 40 now, but not 45. Give him some credit here. Any other questions? Let's move on, maybe. Okay. This was kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys are interested in using PayPal or Venmo too often, but if you're looking for things to spend on, the Treasury Department will take your money from Venmo or PayPal as tips. There's no tax on tips these days, so they will accept your tips to go towards the public debt, to reduce public debt. They will take PayPal or Venmo. Isn't that fun? So, guys, let's put together our $36 trillion U.S. national debt and let's pay it down. How much do I have to pay it down to get citizenship? Big T, hook me up. I'll send you a PayPal. He's going to say 5 million. Yeah, exactly. I didn't think about it whenever it is 5 million, right? That's right. I guess there is an answer. No, Tevis is 31, which is actually older than I thought he was. I thought he turned 30, but I guess he's 31. I'll just go and send some now. PayPal would love if you did. Not only are you benefiting the United States of America, you're also benefiting PayPal and PayPal stock, which, I mean, that's pretty interesting as well. I also wanted to talk on PayPal's earnings predictions. That also comes up on Tuesday, right? So hopefully, let's take a look at what Wall Street is expecting, and then we can take a look at what some other analysts like Roy maybe is seeing for PayPal's earnings. Hold on one moment. Let's just check earnings estimates here. Boom. Sorry for the flashbang here. But on a quarterly basis, we're expecting $1.30 of EPS with just over $8 billion in revenue from PayPal. If we want to just compare that to what the actual company said for earnings, let's take a look at that as well. Because I am very interested in this name. I just have lost faith in trying to bet on these like turnaround plays, because just historically what's worked for me is just betting on the best companies in the world. And PayPal might be that, but currently it's being viewed as, you know, a turnaround play, someone that has to fight against the Adyens of the world, the Apple Pays, these sort of things, and win back some of their users that they've already won in the past. Okay, let's try to find guidance here. If they've posted it on their slide, or maybe they've posted in their earnings results here. Do they not do a financial guidance? There we go. They're expecting $1.25 in EPS. So Wall Street's even expecting that to come even higher. And then also do they not do a revenue guidance? No revenue guidance, just EPS. On a non-GAAP basis, they say that could go as high as 131, but that's not what Wall Street is guessing. They're guessing GAAP numbers. So $1.30, which is actually much higher than what they're actually putting out. Good evening, Tanner. Good evening, Peggy. Thank you so much for being here. Chris, welcome. Tanner, what do you like to eat for snacks? These days, I'm not trying to snack as much if I can't help it. A lot of protein bars or carrots. I don't know. Anything that I think is remotely healthy. That I've been on a health kick recently. So it sounds super boring, but I really just try not to snack as much. Not so much beef jerky. No, there's a company called Pure Protein. I don't know if it's an American company. I sure as heck know it's here in Canada. And it is unbelievably good. Unbelievable. It might as well be a chocolate bar. And it's got like 2 grams of sugar, 21 grams of protein. Protein makes you feel full. So you really don't need a lot. Pure Protein is it literally is the best. I like Quest a lot as well. Quest has a much higher protein level. It's expensive, but it literally doesn't even taste as good. Pure Protein is up there. I do love Costco. I don't eat the hot dogs. No, there's really nothing I can get at Costco. The cafeteria is pretty bad for you. I just eat eggs. I actually am not a big fan of eggs, to be honest. I do eat eggs most mornings, but it has to be accompanied with something. I need to eat it with like bacon or, sausage or something like this to actually get down the eggs. I'm not an omelet guy at all. I do. That is a weird thing about me. But if you go to McDonald's, you just order a beef patty. I remember sharing this tip with Mitt, but like if you go to Wendy's or McDonald's, something like this, very quickly, most times they've really improved the quality of the meat there. That's been like a big push for them. So the quality I actually think has improved quite a lot in the last like 5 years even. But essentially you can go and get 3 quarter patties or 3 like Wendy's patties or whatever for the cost of 1 like Dave single or 1 Big Mac or something like this. You get way more protein, fills you up, much healthier. Yeah. Tanner, is there a reason you don't mess with options? Just mainly expiries. Things with expiries that can go to 0. I don't know what's going to happen in the short term. I've seen enough black swan events in my days that things can come out of the blue that people aren't expecting and just rip your portfolio apart. So I don't do that. I like holding on to companies that I don't like. Look at SoFi, for example. I've been wrong on the timeline of this business, but I've been right on the fact that I picked the right name. So if I had written options through this entire time, like I would have lost money on SoFi. It would have taken something that I had, picked the right thing on, but been wrong on my timing. I don't know. I probably would have done very well at the very bottom, writing some pretty aggressive leaps, and I probably should have done that, but I just didn't. And I'm fine. I mean, my portfolio looks as healthy as it's ever looked in my entire life, hitting new all-time highs constantly lately. Happy camper. Yeah, exactly. I felt I've been pretty good with picking the right businesses. In fact, most of my largest mistakes have not been buying the wrong businesses. It's been selling too early the right businesses. So now the people who have watched me in the last like years that I have just stopped selling businesses. I just don't sell stocks anymore. Yeah, unless they were trades to begin with. PayPal was a trade, got out of that. SBET now, there's a lot of new people in here since whenever I said it, but I did actually end up buying SBET for my own portfolio. I will sell that quickly as well. But I'm confident in crypto over the next 12 months. So we're going to see that out. Yeah. Leaps at the low. Sounds smart. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. If I could just go back in time. But like, I don't know. Even looking back, SoFi at 6, SoFi at 4, it felt low. Like, that wasn't just hindsight. I remember my emotions back then. It felt low. The same way that whenever SoFi was breaking through $12, that felt high because we were so used to $7. Now, if it dropped to 12, it would be a godsend. But it felt high at the time. 6 did not feel high. I wouldn't say I'm an OG SoFi content creator. Like, I've never seen this company in 20s other than recently. I was not part of the IPOE, getting into SPACs, anything like this. I actually bought the company, I think about a year and a half after 18 months after they went public, something like that. It was in the $14 ranges on the way down whenever I purchased my first shares in SoFi. But yeah, I mean, out of the remaining ones, I definitely look like an OG, but yeah. Oh, word, you bought SBET. If you don't need the money right now and have a long time horizon, why would you sell? I don't want the tax burden. Well, yeah, I agree with you. And I think that people pick stocks where they constantly need to pick new names as well. I think I need to make a video on this. Like, there's a lot of names that I've been buying that I really think I could purchase and just go to bed till 2035 and then reassess my portfolio, and they'll be perfectly fine. And I think if I pick names like that, that still will grow in terms of like their earnings and market shares in the businesses that they exist over a 10-year period, I'll be fine. So what does that mean? Does that mean SoFi? Maybe. I mean, in this audience, obviously, people would be pretty excited for SoFi over the next 10 years. But I think financials are going to change a lot during that period. Okay. So maybe that's not what I would do. Okay. If you spam in chat, you're getting banned 1,000%. If there's a mod, please help me out here, brother. But in that next breath, if I look at Google, Amazon, Nvidia, Meta over the next 10 years, whoo, that is very exciting. That is very, very exciting. And what do you think is too many? How many names do I have in my portfolio? So right now I have 15, I think, as of today, after purchasing SBET. But I don't want more than that. I heard a thing from Bill Ackman that said that diversification or the benefits of diversification end at 14 names. And I've just stuck with that. I've trusted his mindset on that, and probably the research that he's put some intern towards and figured that out. But really, I'm extremely interested in big tech names right now. I think the big get bigger right now. I think that they're going to win in the future. Do you include crypto as names? No. The 3 cryptos that I have would make that 18. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of PayPal really quickly, I just took a look at the analyst names. We took a look at what PayPal's own guidance is looking at. But now let's really talk to the real analysts, the ones on the ground level, doing the real research and not just adjusting the price targets to match what the actual flow of the company has done. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the great and powerful Roy Krossroads.
Hey guys, I wore the right shirt today, I guess.
Yeah, you did.
How's it going?
Doing great, man.
Good. Yeah.
Um, so PayPal, we got that Tuesday morning. How are you going to pick between SoFi and PayPal in order? Like, what call are you listening to?
The PayPal one. The reason why is basically regarding certainty, more so than anything else. I also have a hard choice to make later on between HIMS and Palantir. Palantir, amazing company. I own a lot more Palantir. It's the more entertaining call as well, but I'm less certain about the HIMS earnings. And so that's the one that I'm going to be paying attention to first. So it's the same way with SoFi. We know it's going to be an amazing quarter. We know it's going to be a great report. The question is how good, and we'll discuss that and debate that here in a little bit over an hour. PayPal, we'll have to see. I'm confident that it'll be a triple beat, but really the question is how aggressively do they raise guidance? What do they say about a lot of these new initiatives that they're laying out? That is going to be very interesting to pay attention to. And also the early reads on some of these things that they've launched recently too. So there's a lot more or a lot less that I feel certain about in that, even though this is not the most certain SoFi earnings that we've ever had. So
Yeah. Now, in terms of PayPal, really quick, we just saw PayPal World. I wanted your opinion on this. What exactly is happening for the people that don't know what Alex Chris and team just posted?
Yeah, it's integrated wallets worldwide, basically connecting 2 billion people. So instead of if you're traveling internationally and you were going to China, you wouldn't have to figure out like exchange rates and like switch wallets because a lot of things are digital paid in India and China and other places as well, even more so in some cases in the United States. Instead, if you are a PayPal user, PayPal customer, once this goes live, which is soon, then you can just bring that with you, tap to pay anywhere that TenPay is accepted or WeChat Pay or WePay in that case, which is basically everywhere in China. Same with India, same with Mercado Libre in South America, although not quite as concentrated right there. And so this connects basically 2 billion people. Also, it opens up for the merchants for the PayPal on the PayPal side, a lot of direct access from these other major wallets that are out there too. So it's really, but ultimately what this is I think a reaction to stable coins and just a lot of these big, massive companies see that, okay, if we don't make it have less friction as far as international cross-border payment, not just on the wallet side, then we're going to be hurting. And that's true. They need to remove friction, and this helps it. It is a PayPal product, so it's not just a partnership between all these other massive players. It's built on PayPal's tech stack itself, which is pretty exciting, frankly.
Yeah, that is exciting. I didn't even think about that part.
Yeah. Well, and this is made possible by, like, if you go back to the investor day, PayPal One. So in essence, they were doing several things on that. They used to have all these different disparate silos that you couldn't even send money from Venmo to PayPal in the United States, which is just crazy. And they use stablecoin, of course, to back in that. They use it to save remittances as well. But basically, all their ecosystem didn't work with itself. It was just crazy and not a good way to do that. And so they've moved everything over to a single tech stack. They've updated a lot of the code. They've been working on it. I guess it's not, I shouldn't say it's completed because PayPal Complete Payments and Braintree, I believe, finish up in the first half in 2026, which is why you see some of these things are mentioned as coming out then versus in the fall. And then the other thing that they're doing is moving it to cloud native. So instead of having all of this massive global enterprise run through the United States servers, which when you're global, that really doesn't make sense. They've made it cloud native. And that's what enables this without latency and friction. So it's all coming together. Other things that they also mentioned in the announcement are, that this allows for the possibility of using, of course, their model context protocol remote server, specifically with agentic commerce. I'm sure Fastlane is in there, although they didn't mention that, stable coins and international remittances as well. So it's nice. It's showcasing that PayPal is no longer just saying, okay, we're going to sit around and slowly deteriorate and buy things and forget that they exist. But instead, there is a concrete strategy, and a lot of things that they announced earlier build out towards other things as well, which frankly, you should get in every company, but you were not getting it in PayPal 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit excited about the PayPal Venmo
Yes.
interoperability, especially the Venmo being able to purchase on the PayPal button seems like immediate
Oh yeah.
revenue add. And plus, that's probably at the or at the PayPal take rate. I don't see why it would be anything lower because the merchants haven't signed up to take 1%, right? Like they're
Yeah, yeah. Remittances are one thing, but which you can do with Venmo and PayPal, or you can starting next year. But yeah, starting, well, we don't know if it's January or not, but probably early next year, they will be able to anywhere that PayPal's accepted, Venmo can be used too, which is a huge unlock because Brad has an article coming out that he'll put a lot of this stuff out there, but Venmo has about a 5% spread compared to PayPal. So there's a lot of these. It's actually really interesting timing because they've been really pushing for Venmo monetization. They've been scaling it. That's always seems like it gets a better run with those that are younger and a little bit more affluent or are in college. And we saw those Big 10 and Big 12 partnerships, which basically scale out Venmo to 700 something thousand college students. And some of them are like, I don't know. I won't go into that partnership unless we want to. But it's just like all these things are lining up very nicely together. So that is actually the biggest unlock as far as total payment volumes and as far as actually bringing in meaningful revenue is that unlocked right there. It's not insignificant. If the market, and actually the market, I think it started up like 2.5% or something. It sold it off to like 0.5%. I'm like, the market doesn't understand what this is yet.
yeah.
I'm sure they'll do a good job of portraying what this is, but it's compelling enough too that I mean they have 2 billion people now interconnected or that will be interconnected, and I mean as they mentioned with Mercado Libre, it seems like that they kind of joined this relatively late, that they're still figuring it out. But what they do know is that they want to be a part of this, as will every single major wallet that's out there. Just because if you can interconnect with 2 billion people, why would you not do that?
I'm surprised that Nubank was not on that list because, um, you know, Nubank versus Mercado Pago. That I would have liked to have seen Nubank there, but still
I
happy. I mean, I'm playing both sides here.
I think they will be there. I think we'll see another, actually, quite a few more. It wouldn't shock me if, pretty rapidly they go from 2 billion people as far as wallets to like 3 billion, which there will be some overlap with those. Somebody might have a Mercado Pago wallet and also Nubank wallet. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Um, okay, so what exactly are you? Can you say what you're predicting for EPS versus what guidance is putting out right now?
for PayPal,
Yeah.
I need to finalize those numbers, so I
Okay.
need to do another pass through, and I've not released those yet. So I'm not EPS. So one of the things that you need to factor in there, do you have your prediction numbers for PayPal? If haven't
I'm
done
not
that?
doing
Yeah,
one.
you're not a holder. So they did move a lot of the marketing expense they've done, like with Will Ferrell, the Venmo products and stuff, to this quarter. So that will hit as far as EPS. So I don't, that's one where if they don't beat, like they're obviously going to raise guidance, like everybody and their mother knows that. But in revenue, we know that they'll beat. EPS, that's the one thing I'm like, if they don't beat something, it might be EPS, just because they've moved a lot of that spin towards that. And we have an idea of what that is. And I think that they'll beat it or at least meet it. But I mean, EPS for myself, at least, it's important, but it's not the most important thing this quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the guidance in case anybody's not watching. So basically what happened in the prior quarter is they kept their guidance the exact same, despite saying multiple times over that earnings call and also later fireside chats that, yeah, quarter two is shaping up great. Just with tariff uncertainty, we're going to stand pat. And this is the last quarter where you have the full headwind from the Braintree shift. So it's a negative 5% top line revenue thing. That's the one thing where I'm curious when the market starts seeing PayPal the way that I see it. Maybe never. Maybe it doesn't happen that way, but it's underappreciated for sure right now, and I would say undervalued as well by quite a bit. But I don't know that it's going to be this quarter, simply because guidance has been the most important. It's been the most important theme in the quarter, but there's still a lot of attention right now in the cycle to top line revenue growth. And PayPal, they might have 3%, because they have that massive -5% headwind. So we'll see. Probably 2%. I'm going back and forth with my revenue numbers. So
I love this comment. Amazing how much business news these guys can remember on companies. Can barely remember what I had for dinner yesterday. I don't know why, though. It just sticks for the companies that you own and you love, especially whenever you talk about them on a consistent basis. But yeah, Roy's the absolute expert on PayPal. I mean, that is the truth. Partially because he's the brother of Alex Chris. They look exactly alike. So that means they're related.
Might be a bit of Stockholm syndrome at this point too. So,
but speaking about companies that markets just simply don't like that much. I mean, dude, what's going on with you and Google? The whole world wants to know. Are you still a super bear on Google?
no, but by your definition, I think it'll outperform the S&P 500, and I think it's right around there. Like it's not like a fantastic outperformance, and I don't know that it will be, going forward the way that a lot of people are expecting and thinking, at least for a few years. Yeah, search is one of those things that it's just you need to keep an eye on it, and there's this 47% of the business. I didn't look at this quarter as far as the breakdown, so maybe it's slightly different now, but slightly less than half of the business I'm super bullish on. Not everything. Some of those are like moonshot projects like quantum, but if you're baking that into your thesis in Google, I don't know why, because there's a lot of other compelling stuff that they're doing that they're just going to win. And they're doing very well in all these other ventures. And where they are doing well as far as revenue is search. It continues staying well. It's doing fine as far as revenue. And there's comments every single time by analysts who are seeing concerns, and they're like, well, but impressions are down, or costs, or CPC is down. Just they're like, help us understand how this is. And Google always basically deflects. They say, oh, well, those aren't really the measures, and maybe that's the case.
Yeah, but what are you not liking in the actual numbers? Like let their numbers speak for them.
Yeah, let me see if this has a if it's updated. Otherwise, we'll have to pull up the 10Q. But hopefully, it's updated on here. Key charts.
Because, like Ken said, I don't know if you see this comment here, but Google crushed.
It did well. It was a very good quarter. Yeah, I'm not saying that.
It was a perfect quarter.
No.
It was way beyond anyone's expectations.
It was a very good quarter. Perfect. No. But yeah, I have to pull up the SEC filing because they don't have it on the chart thing here. So
maybe I'm a little bit biased because as a Google and NVIDIA shareholder, it was a perfect quarter.
I mean, honestly, it was just every single thing that reports is just bullish NVIDIA.
Yes, but then I still think the market is so bearish on NVIDIA at 4.25 trillion. Like, I think people, especially retail, do not want to buy at these prices. They don't.
And I don't get it. Like that NVIDIA hitting an all-time high. I'm like, okay, cool. So I have more cash than I'd actually like to have at this point. And I'm going to wait through the earnings season until there is that company. And I mean, there's companies out there like Google where I'm like, I didn't think that Google would fall this earnings. I thought it'd be perfectly fine. It's better than I expected. It's very good. But if it had been sold off, I'd be like, all right, I'll buy that. And if I don't, if we get to the other side of the earnings season, that's when I'm starting my DCA again in NVIDIA, unless it goes up to like 250 or something like that. Then I'd be like, okay, it's not cheap anymore, but right now, man, I don't know. It's easy just to, buy a few shares each week, and just whatever the price is, doesn't really matter. It's going to go up over time.
That's fair.
Here's a 10Q. That's quarter one though. So
retail would rather buy Open Door than NVIDIA. It's true. And I think that people look at that as a, like, Open Door can 10x and NVIDIA will not 10x, at least not in any near future. That are they going to 40 trillion? But there's also a real chance that Open Door goes BK, as the kids say, bankrupt, and there's not a chance that NVIDIA goes bankrupt. So I guess there's just how do you weigh your risk versus reward, you know? And not just the chance of them going bankrupt. I mean, there's a decent chance that Open Door ceases to have business in the next 24 months. And there's, you know, a next to, low percent chance that NVIDIA even has just low percentage of growth earnings in the next 24 months. I mean, the difference is not even like, we're not even talking about bankruptcy for NVIDIA. We're talking about just, hey, are they going to see 70% growth or are they going to see 55% growth? You know?
So this is the reason why the analysts had the question on impressions. Is impressions continue to be down, the cost continues to increase. The question is,
that's
can
on Google Network.
Yeah, on Google Network itself. And then paid clicks change. You can see that it's actually up, but it's not up by a lot. Cost is going faster than clicks. And when we don't have the whole breakdown here, but I mean, things are not as strong as they were previously for search. And really, this is more of you said actual numbers. That's the thing, is Google is hiding a lot of their numbers. And so like you came out today, like, let me put, I shouldn't have closed that.
Yeah, but even in the numbers that you brought up, paid per clicks was up. Yes, it's only up 4%, but people were suggesting that they were dying.
When the rate of increase continues to slow, and it looks like that at some point it will.
But it's not. If you look at the last 6 months, it's slower than the last 3 months.
The rate, yeah, there's lumpiness, right? But if you look at the rate versus where they were, like even just a year ago or 2 years ago, it's slowing. And so that's the thing, is a massive company like Google, especially as massive as their business is, it's meaningful when your growth is actually slowing. And I don't think that you wait until it's like, oh, well, let's wait until there's 3 quarters of negative print before you have some concerns and you start asking questions. That's why a lot of people are asking questions to Google, and Google is very tight-lipped and very sticking very close to the script on what they're saying. And I'm not saying that they're lying, but there's a massive disconnect between the SEO guys and what Google is actually saying. And any time that there's a study that comes out, there's a Pew Research study that came out today too, which said the same thing as every other study that's out there. I won't show the whole study. It's worth looking at though. It's actually pretty short. But in essence, Google users are less likely to click on a link when they encounter search pages with AI summaries. It shouldn't surprise you, but I mean, you can see it's a demonstrable difference. And many just say, you know what, good enough. We're done with the search. Now, is it a massive difference? No, but it seems like that this is increasing. You look at other studies too. Anytime something like this comes out, this is what Google's response essentially looks like. This is what they sent to the guy that was reposting on this. And they said people are gravitating towards AI-powered experiences and AI features in search. And at the very end, they have not observed significant drops. It means there are some drops in aggregate web traffic as is being suggested. And they said very similar thing. For instance, wasn't even a study, but at the DOJ trials with Apple, Apple said, hey, this is the first time that we've seen it drop ever on Safari. And Google's like, but it hasn't dropped across your whole ecosystem. So
yeah, but this is why I think that there's not a big attack, but all these companies can say one thing, but then in Google's numbers, that's why people were not expecting as good of a result in search, is because of those reports like what Apple said and different research studies and all these things that came out. And then once again, we're up to 11.7% when people were potentially expecting sub 9%.
Yeah, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is cost per clicks. They keep increasing it, and there's a variety of reasons for that, but they're milking it for all it's worth. The other side of that too is you have to remember, like a lot of these SEO people and these advertisers, they've been just focusing on Google, or almost all Google, for their entire careers. So there's palpable frustration, palpable confusion over what's happening with that. But they're not going to switch immediately. It's showing basically this is not showcasing, in my opinion, that search is completely fine and it's not going to deteriorate. Instead, it's showing how freaking deep that moat was that Google built. And it will take a while for that moat to erode just because people are not willing to jump the ship immediately. Now, I think that we're getting close to that point. It's anecdotal, but there's a lot of SEO guys that I'm following on X. There's a lot that I'm following outside of X as well that post content very regularly. And all of them are saying, well, okay, not all, but 95% are all saying the same thing, where they're like, okay, Google is not being honest with their numbers. They're saying one thing, we're seeing another. We're not sure what's working. They will not allow us to have access to some of the numbers that would simply actually prove their case. And I can even show you just a bit of.
But they don't have to prove their case. They're proving it to their investors, unless you think that their number in terms of their revenue is, fraudulent. Who cares what SEO guys have to say? Because their numbers are in small quantities.
The SEO guys and the advertisers are the customers.
Yeah, but it's all like parsed small data. Like if Google comes out and said they grew by 11.7%, everything else is noise.
I don't think it's small at all. When you have a whole bunch of these guys whose entire life revolves around this, and I've looked at some of them.
Up 4%, so who cares?
Just to see. Okay, well, continue investing then. So ignore the warning signs. That's fine.
Yeah, but these warning signs have been happening for 3-4 quarters.
No, not like this.
Like, why didn't we see anything in Q2, even quarter over quarter?
Again, it's showing the deepness of their moat, and it takes a while for this to deteriorate to really ramp. But
there's it increased. It got better. So that's not deterioration.
All right. Well, I disagree with you. So I don't think it's helpful to look at it necessarily quarter over quarter. There is seasonality. There's other factors as well. But you look at, and they even said right in their earnings call, right? They said that there's lumpiness in individual quarters because of a lot of different things that can work in their favor sometimes and not. And they were saying that as a caution of like, if you do get and I wouldn't worry about this either, like a single quarter, which they did 2 quarters ago, that was very, very soft. You can't read, like, oh, Google's dead in a single quarter. Just like this quarter, you can't read into this and be like, okay, therefore, like everything is great and fine. Like it's not the case. And I think that the trend will continue to show this. And again, like the early warning stuff is the main customers, the advertisers, the SEO guys, when they're all like, something is wrong here, and we're not even sure if our business is going to survive. Maybe that's a business that needs to die, and it probably will over time. But when you brought up like a year ago, going back at a lot of these articles and things that were put out, they had no concerns that their business was going away. They did not believe that search was a dying industry. Otherwise, they probably would have pivoted before. Now they're saying
not long ago, Google was trading for like $80-$90 a share. This is not new studies. That people have been worried about search for a long time now. This is the past 15 months.
And these guys are seeing it, and they're on the front lines.
Yeah, but we're seeing more up-to-date numbers in the actual like reports. Like how this is the same thing with like potentially even PayPal. It's like, how long can Google survive with their traditional business before they transition users from more direct clicks through blue links over to Gemini and subscription revenue and a new form of monetizing 2 billion monthly users? If they can survive that, then you're still betting on YouTube going up, which I'm sure you're not doubting. Google Cloud, hardware. You should show your phone to the camera. I mean, what valuation do you put on everything other than the speed at which search is deteriorating?
So to be clear, you mentioned survival a couple of times. I never said Google wouldn't survive. So if anyone's thinking that.
I'm not suggesting that you're saying that they're going to die, but die faster than what potentially the market is pricing them at, like as if they might grow slower than other companies in markets today. Like why is potentially you're very bullish on PayPal, but maybe a little bit less bullish on Google, what makes PayPal a better pick today than Google at these prices?
Yeah, I think opportunity. There's Google will have some bumps in the road, and their main core business is changing rapidly. Now, how fast that change happens versus what they're able to scale out, it makes a big difference. But I mean, their entire model of what they're doing has been built on what has worked over the last 20 years. That's not working going forward. They'll be fine. They'll make that pivot. The deterioration will probably be faster than a lot of people expect as far as search before a lot of those new projects ramp up. So that's what I'm expecting and guessing for Google. There is a price where I do become a Google shareholder. I'm not bearish on the company in the definition of like I am with Apple, where I think it'll actually underperform the S&P 500. They don't innovate anymore. Google's doing a lot of innovation. PayPal just has a massive opportunity in front of them, and literally nothing good is priced in right now. And I don't know when that will ever change, but we can see, just there are segments of their business that are deteriorating and will over time, but there's a lot that are growing and ramping up, and a lot of absolutely new fields that they're going into, which are not priced in, they're not guided for, but advertising is one of those major ones, which are just, we'll have to see where this goes, but with who they have at the helm of that, I have no doubt that they're going to do quite well, which is a significant part of their business. So if PayPal was in the boat with Google, where half of their business was going to not completely go away, but deteriorate pretty rapidly over the next 5 to 10 years, I would not be in PayPal, just like I am not in Google. I'd have to wait for a much, much lower valuation and a significant margin of safety. Plus, the other part of that too is, as far as the things that Google is spinning up for future revenue sources, other than obviously GCP, but the AI products specifically, and even Waymo revenue, it's not going to expand or scale or be as significant across our entire ecosystem as even just the Venmo monetization and what they're doing as far as omni-channel and advertising for PayPal. So I just see a greater opportunity and a higher margin of safety over there. But very different companies, and that doesn't mean I think Google's bad. I don't.
Yeah, and I also think what's important too is that you also don't need to find the potential winner between Google and PayPal. If you don't believe in Google and you sleep well knowing the success of PayPal and understand the risks better, then that is inherently the better pick for your portfolio, so I think that's important as well. But this quarter has gotten me extremely bullish on Google. I just bought more. And
how do you not put any stock into what advertisers and SEO folks are saying?
No, well, not really, because the whole Apple report and everything that all came out, it just turned out to just be fluff. We grew, and I don't just mean quarter over quarter, but I mean year over year as well. So take out seasonality, add in recency, whatever you want to do. We're just not seeing it in the numbers. So where are they growing if it's not on Apple and with their large advertisers and no one's clicking through? But yet the comments from Sundar Pichai are, hey, the youth is using our products more now with artificial intelligence. Our monetization is just as high, if not higher, with AI overviews now. I don't know who to bet. I don't think you're suggesting this either. I think the numbers that Google are putting out are real and not fraudulent. So how do you get there without
But they're cherry picked, is what I'm saying. And the numbers that advertisers and SEO folks have wanted, they don't show. And there's actually some that they've removed. And they say, oh, these aren't needed. You guys don't need them. It's like, okay, but honestly, at this point, there's been, I don't know. If I was a Google shareholder, I would spend more time focusing on what these frontline folks are saying, simply because it's very unsettling that there's all these people saying one thing and study after study saying one thing, and Google is saying something quite different. And all Google has to do, actually, and I disagree with you that you just show the revenue and the number in the 10Q, is show the actual engagement numbers that the SEO folks are asking, advertisers are asking about as well. And that shows the case, or do their own study. They can actually pay they have plenty of money. You can pay somebody, fractions of a cent of what they have to run a study and say, okay, look, Google is completely fine. And my question is, why have they not done that? I don't think they have the best leadership in the world, but I don't think that they're so terrible that they'd be like, oh, if we do a study and it destroys, like absolutely takes the legs out of the bear case, and there's nothing left other than just people that think that we made it up, which would be such a small minority. How can you not see that be additive towards shareholder value? Like, is there strategy like, hey, let's keep the stock down low so we can buy back more? I don't think so. So, why haven't they done that? Poor leadership. Again, I don't think that's the case. I think that the reality is things are not nearly as rosy as what this report indicates or the numbers that they share, because then that's what we're seeing with these studies and the frontline folks.
We can healthily disagree, but I think that this is going to be a meta-like turnaround. I don't think it's meta at 80. I think it's more like meta at 200 or 250, something like this. But I think that we are going to see a much higher multiple going forward, especially on the growth rates, device and platform subscriptions. Every large line of their revenue has accelerated this quarter in search, YouTube, cloud, and platforms.
Very good quarter.
Yeah.
And it's not expensive here, especially if you don't think search is deteriorating at all, period. I would be cautious on that. By the way, people are saying, why would you ever buy PayPal over Google? I mean, this doesn't prove why, but if you don't mind showing this.
Oh, sorry.
People may not realize PayPal is actually up over Google over the last year. So yeah, it's not as stupid as people think. Either you think that Google's going to go on a NVIDIA type run or Meta type run, and I don't see it, but it could. Like, honestly, if they released that report that I mentioned that destroys the bear case on the search stuff, the DOJ stuff gets cleared up, they could. But yeah, it's not crazy to think that PayPal might beat Google over the next 5 years. I think by quite a bit. Also, law big. Like, PayPal has a much smaller market cap, and nothing good is priced into them at all. Versus Google, there's some good things that are priced in. It could be trading at a higher multiple though, for sure. I don't. Again, I'm not bearish Google, so.
Yeah, no, that is very important to clear up, ladies and gentlemen. I think I said Roy will be here for 10. I think he's been here for a lot longer than that. So we really do appreciate you coming on. Check out his X right there, and I can throw his YouTube in the chat as well. Put it up on screen earlier, but make sure you check out at Krossroads on YouTube. You got to change your at though. There's a little bit of extra letters and numbers at the end there, but. I don't know if Krossroads is available or not, but
no, nothing similar has been taken. It's all bots. So
at Krossroads or on X as well. So thank you, brother. I really do appreciate you coming on.
Later.
Yeah, no, I think that's a healthy bit of skepticism. That, of course, if there are players in your space that are suggesting that there's data to suggest that search is slowing down, that's going to be the case. But then I also see, not only the real data that the revenue continues to climb, and if you guys remember the chart while we were listening to the earnings call, the whole time it was staying roughly around up 1%, but it was the paid clicks percent that went up, meaning that the actual search percentage, not just the monetization, had also gone up. That's what really sent the stock higher. We went from up 1% to up 3.5% during that time. So that, I think, is what was an important point this quarter. We should keep an eye on it, but I still want to be heavily invested in Google. Tanner, can you show the 5-year chart for Google and PayPal? I mean, I'm sure it's going to be in the favor of Google, is what I would presume, but I don't think that's necessarily the thing, right? He potentially was not invested 5 years ago. He's investing now at these prices because that's where, just because an investor is looking at a company doesn't mean that you can just go back all the way before and say, oh, imagine if we were buying Cisco in 1999, we'd still be down. It's like, yeah, but we're not buying it in 1999, we're buying it now. And is Cisco going to go up or down today? Now, yeah, Google versus PayPal is a different story, but that's also very, very cherry-picked timelines. Yeah, I don't know. We will see in the mix between Google and PayPal. I'm on the Google team. Roy's on the PayPal team. But honestly, Roy's an amazing investor, and you cannot disregard like him not liking one name or whatever. I mean, we have to wait it out to see how he's going to do on that. Let's remember his history. He's a Palantir investor from, the $7 ranges. He's a Robinhood investor from single digits. Like, he's an unbelievable investor. So, the second I see you guys start getting bearish on him just because you disagree with his points, I got to defend my boy here because I love Roy. But we disagree on some things, and that's fine. Let's go Google. Yeah. I mean, I'm the one with the Samsung phone. He's got the Pixel. And you know what? Ever since I got this phone, the Samsung, because I've always been Android. I'm Windows and Android my whole life. I've regretted this decision and want the Pixel back. I don't know what it is. I use freaking voice to text all the time for all my searches, for everything. And I don't know why the Pixel just gets it. And the Samsung is the dumbest thing. It's like how people think they have to talk to phones. With text this person. When are you coming home? And a Pixel, you're just like, hey, can you text this person? When are you coming home? Thank you. It's not a Note 7. It's the S24 Plus. So maybe I'll get the Google Pixel 10 whenever that comes out. Google is Android. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying I've always been on Android, but I bought the Samsung rather than the Pixel, and that will not be the same. I won't make the same mistake again. The Pixel is to be fair, I only know people that have Apple. I've never really been on that ecosystem. I think the Pixel is the best smartphone. And that also gets me really excited because I do think that they can continue to climb in the amount of sales that they end up having, especially now that all of the software that's being built, the Android portion, all the Gemini parts, everything. So I was working with this company recently, and we were talking about their product design and everything like this. They built their entire company essentially on Gemini 2.5. And I was like, why Gemini and not the other businesses? They were like, because it was a data aggregating company. They were like, in terms of its ability to spot and pull data versus any of the other names, they are leagues above them. And we literally can't do what our company does with any of the other providers. It has to be Gemini. And I was like, wow, man, just another reason for me to love this business. Very anecdotal, obviously. And I can talk more about that later on, but that'll be in a bit. Tanner, why nobody talk about Google Willow? It's just been a while. We just haven't heard much. I do talk about it whenever I'm getting positive on Google. I do bring up Quantum, but I don't really, I haven't heard anything from it in a bit. By the way, if I could give a shout out to my own Discord, there's one individual. What is their name? I need to find it. But we have a Google part. The friends we made along the way is their ticker symbol. And I'm telling you, this person has single-handedly held up the entire Google part. So now there's some talk in Google because I've been talking about Google recently. But this person right here, if you just go, all these links is from the same person that's just throwing up straight DD into this thing the whole time. Okay? It's absolutely incredible. So thanks to this person for just being the due diligence that every Google investor needs. And if there are more people who want to be that amazing, we need more of you. Okay? Unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to mod this person right now because they're the best. Mod. Okay, don't ban people. How do you join? It's just in the Discord. It's just in the description. Yeah. If you end up seeing the, I don't know how to do it. It's also that QR code below. But yeah, I think we have 1,700 people in there that are throwing in some due diligence from time to time, talking about their different trades, everything. I'm in there, but if you guys ever have a question for me or need or want to show me something, make sure you at me, because obviously with a server that large, I can't see every single notification. So the ones that you guys put me in and make sure that it's not a bot. Discord likes to ping a lot of bots. And we remove them from the server, but we can't remove them from Discord. So outside of Discord, there's servers, but then there's just like users, and users can communicate with other users. So it's very common that people are trying to impersonate me to, contact you and say, hey, I want this from you. I want that. I'm not going to reach out to you. If I'm going to reach out to individuals, it's probably for some certain reason, like, hey, I need a certain link. Honestly, I'm not going to DM you. Don't even listen to that part. I'm not going to reach out to you. But we can talk in the server. 100%. Please note you'll be free. Yeah, it is true. But we can only ban the ones that are on the server. I can't go out of, like, if you guys actually look, my logo, I've just paid for like a profile picture that moves, because I know that the bots won't replicate that spend. It was only like $5, but they won't spend it. So just make sure that they have that moving image, because it's a premium cosmetic, but it just is a way to verify that it might actually be me. I don't know. It's hard. Too many scammers in the finance space. Yeah, but there's a lot of money going around, right? It does make it very hard. It makes the comment sections on YouTube hard, makes Discord hard, it makes all of these things. But once you get used to it, you kind of get a sense for what they post and how they try to contact you. You can kind of get past it a little bit. This is a real thing. AI, like, this is why I want a cybersecurity name, is because the efforts in cybersecurity are only going to need to ramp 10x, 20x, 1,000x going forward. That's just whether or not that translates into 1,000x revenue, right? In the same breath, I think that just the overall internet activity is going to increase. And I can just continue to bet on some of the large cloud names, Google, stuff like this, that are just going to benefit so clearly, and I don't have to pick an individual winner. Like, Google is going to be such a massive winner. I see the premium that PayPal gets for their hardware, and I'm just wondering why Google gets absolutely zero for theirs. I get why. It's small, but it's not going to be small forever. They're a very fast grower in the space. I hope that they break out their revenue so then we do get to see subscriptions, because there's been a lot of growth recently, but how much of that is Gemini? I think that a lot of that is Gemini. So I want to see those types of data. Maybe I'm asking for a lot, but how they break out the hardware versus a subscription. Dookie Pie finally here in chat. People were wondering. I feel like Google moves exactly like SoFi. I don't know. SoFi's been up. Well, now it's a little bit less because we've flatlined in the $21 range, which I'm super happy about. By the way, you gotta love it. Like, I'm fine if we get used to the 20s. It's a nice place to be, with some potential upside if markets get hot. That being said, though, in the last maybe 4 months, we're up over 100%. Google's not quite that level, but yeah, very, very exciting. Oh, by the way, Dookie, now that you're here, I can let you know I actually bought SBET for my own portfolio. So it's not added to the community portfolio. It's in a separate thing, but I actually did take advantage of these $22 price ranges, and we'll see if it ends up working. I bought a small amount, more than what you got me, but yeah, I do think that I did also buy Google. I have Ethereum, I have Bitcoin, I have Solana in terms of individual coins. I'm just buying a little bit as a trade for SBET. So right now, SBET was down another 5% today. Total, we're down 41%, which hurts. But SoFi is doing well. And by the way, a bunch of donations had come in yesterday for more SoFi. So SoFi is trying to take up an even larger share of the overall company. PayPal's actually grown. Do we have Google? Do we even have Google? We must, right? Google. Okay. 0.28%. Yeah. And is that total returns or today's? Let's look at totals. Upseller is up 21%. Rivian up 7%. Yep. Shopify up 10%. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That whoever donated Shopify, we have the list, but I just haven't gone through it. Whoever got Shopify for us, love ya. Chime's doing better than Shopify. What does this world come to? D-Wave up 17%. Kratos drones up 23.5%. Fubo. Yeah. Crazy, crazy, crazy market. Buy app earnings will make the stock go to 25% plus. I don't know if it'll go up that much. I am bullish on App Lovin', and I do have it in the stock draft. Yeah. SBET is the number 2 to BMNR. Come on. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. We roll with number 1. Yeah, but the thing is that the quality of the companies, this is different, okay? Because the services, there's no go-to-market here. There's not like, these are treasury businesses, you know? So the having number 1 versus number 2 is the difference of paying a premium or not. So SBET's the cheaper one on the multiple for NAV, and they just actually made a large change to their C-suite, which I think brings a lot of credibility to their business. I think the next time that we see a weekly update on their ETH, that we're going to be over like 300,000 or probably like 340,000 ETH, all being staked. This is a very different situation. JS, was that your ticker that you sent in? If so, appreciate it. I mean, that's worked out. Yeah. That was the news from today. The BlackRock individual that ended up coming over. I don't personally know who Joseph was, but he seemed to be involved in a lot of the crypto activities and different ETFs that they ended up setting up and all that stuff from BlackRock. Big name in the field. So I'm excited about that, but I didn't know him personally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but he's going to be huge in the field. I think that is exciting. I just don't. The only thing I didn't like about that, and maybe I'm just being nitpicky, I hate the title of co-CEO. What's going on there? I hate co-CEOs. Just name yourself something else. Chief Treasurer. I don't care. Maybe I'm being picky. Overall, though, tonight we are going to have on Roy, who you just saw. We're going to have on Tevis. We are having on data-driven investing, so he's going to go through those predictions that we talked about. Okay, we're all going to discuss what's going to happen for Tuesday. So it's Tuesday morning in the morning, 6:55 a.m. We'll be live here, and yeah. That's pretty much it. Assistant to the regional manager. Assistant to the regional manager. Friday party, that's what we're doing. AMD has outperformed Nvidia since bought. Oh yeah, you bought the bottom? You bought the absolute bot like peak drop? I don't know, man. I'm not as bullish on betting on the bottoms here. So if we take a look, you can pick out where exactly you think that AMD has been the better buy. Okay, so just in this most recent point, that's whenever you bought. Okay, or that's whenever you sold. This is whenever you bought. But if we just go back, like how far do we want to go? I don't know. It's been pretty much the case that Nvidia has been the name. There's certain places where you can find pretty large changes in the stock price. But overall, I'm very happy holding on to Nvidia. Very happy. I'm a long-term investor. I like the company that owns the entire market. Tortoise versus the hare. Who's the tortoise and who's the hare in this situation? I'm curious. What makes AMD any version of a tortoise here other than underperforming? They haven't had some long game plan. They've just made mistakes. Their software has sucked. Okay, that's the reason why the market is choosing Nvidia. It's not because they're methodical. They've made mistakes. Have you ever sold any Nvidia shares? I've sold a lot of Nvidia shares. I'd be a lot different. But that's okay. We make mistakes. We learn from them. It's still 50% of my portfolio. Whoa, underperforming? Yes, greatly underperforming. Greatly. One has, so they both came into the market, during this AI data center rollout phase. And one has a 75+% of the market share, and the other one is trying to make a name in the AI space. Everyone's projecting at forward earnings that AMD is going to make big waves, and I hope that they do. But if you're talking about historical, one has underperformed greatly. That's not up for discussion. I'm not sleeping on Lisa Su. I just whenever people go, whoa, what do you mean underperforming? I mean, NVIDIA is the greatest company that's ever been seen in the history of any sector ever. And then AMD hopes to take some market share away from them. And I think that would be healthy if they did. But yeah. JS24. Net, strong enterprise adoption with high customer retention, also positioned to benefit from long-term growth in cybersecurity and cloud infrastructure. Very, very happy to get some Cloudflare here. Thank you so much for the donation, my friend. We will add it to the portfolio. And let's not even talk about Intel. Let's not talk about that. Thoughts on Salesforce? I'm very big in Salesforce. I'm bullish, shareholder. Mark Benioff's one of the greatest CEOs of all time. I think that they have massive AI distribution potential and probably makes for stickier customers going forward. So I have no qualms. Some people think that artificial intelligence will be able to make these sort of record platforms, but I don't really think so. I think CRM will do great. Bloom Energy. Yeah, they're an $8 billion company, right? I think so. I'm pretty sure. 7-8 billion, something like that. Yeah, 8 billion. Wow, what on the dot? Okay. Payush, thank you so much, brother. I do appreciate it. Bloom Energy upgraded to $51. Bloom systems deliver clean power with virtually no air pollution or no water use, contributing to Oracle's use of sustainable energy sources to power Oracle Cloud. I did see that report from yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. Thank you, Payush. I will put Bloom Energy into the portfolio. That's a name that I do think I should start looking into. Just always, it hurts the brain whenever you have to buy a company or you want to buy a company that's already up 100+% in the last couple months. But hey, if they're doing great things, you got to do it. If SoFi doesn't stay flat, will it go up or down? If I knew the answer to that, man, I'd be in a different position if I could tell you where stocks go in the short term. Chip, maybe you weren't here whenever I was talking about why I don't do options, but I can't control I don't know the short-term fluctuation of stock prices. I also don't know the numbers in what SoFi will announce. I have predictions, but I don't know. I'd like to think it goes up. I'm a shareholder. We've seen it go down many times after earnings. I'm not sure. More deals are coming to Bloom. Oracle is just the first. All right. What will you do if Google is broken up? Be a shareholder of multiple businesses? I probably won't do a thing. Yeah. Holy crap, Lester! Thank you, brother. I do appreciate it. Robinhood. I misted the Nvidia run, but very interested in in the long-term growth. I have a heavy position in AMD 130 cost basis. I want to build out my Nvidia position, but concerned I missed it. Still a buy at these prices? Lester, I don't think that these are obviously the most optimal prices. Obviously, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. But do I think that the run ends at $4.25 trillion? No. I do think that this is a $200+ stock all day long. I'm not currently adding to my Nvidia position, but I still am holding, nearly 50% of my portfolio in that company, which is a form of a buy rating, right? If I'm not selling it, I clearly do think it's going to outperform the other names that I could rotate NVIDIA into. And yes, I will put $20 into Robinhood. I think that's a perfectly good name right now. I can't see how the frenzy of investment in Open Door and even SBET and all these other names doesn't lead to increased earnings. And I just read a report today. I didn't see it in my notes. If I didn't save it, I'm going to crash out. But found it. Calls now make up nearly 70% of total options volume, highest since the meme stock frenzy in 2021. Now, the hope is that if we are in a 2021-like phase, that these are very great times for Robinhood, as long as they don't take away any buy button, which is much less likely to happen because, we have T+1 now. That's a big benefit. A lot of the other changes that they've made have sort of secured them. The infrastructure that they are working on right now is also much better. So I don't think they'll ever take away a buy button, even in the most crazy of frenzy. But yeah, it is very bullish for Robinhood. So I'm very happy to hold that. Are we buying Figma? I'm not personally buying Figma. The same reason that I don't want to bet on Adobe is that I do worry that some new artificial intelligence tools are going to quickly change these types of design products. Artificial intelligence is very, very good in a lot of code and getting better with design. So I just not bearish Figma. I just don't know enough about the space. I'm not in there. I'm not an industry expert. And I don't think that it's as important of me to pick out these types of consumer SaaS names. JS24, we need more Amazon, no explanation needed. I 1,000% agree with you. This is like in my top 3 names to buy right now. I'm so freaking bullish Amazon right now. I think you get all the amazing benefits of all the businesses that I love, the e-commerce names, the robotics names, the logistics. Like, it's incredible how bullish I am on Amazon, especially in a humanoid robotic world. Yes, AWS, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, come on. I'm betting on chips. I'm betting on artificial intelligence in general, and every single aspect of their business can benefit from cloud, AI, robotics. There's not a bigger winner. Joseph says, do you have any nuclear stock that you're looking at? No, I don't, but I do think that I need some form of energy because data centers are going to make up for a massive part. And in every single video that you watch or anything with any world leader or AI like thought leader is that the real bottleneck is not going to be chips. It's going to be energy. Whenever there's a bottleneck, that means supply and demand gets imbalanced, which means that the companies that have the small amount of supply that is being outstripped by the demand increases their pricing, margins go up. So, I would like some nuclear names, but you guys need to tell me what names I need to look at. Are you writing covered calls on Mercado Libre? No, I'm not writing covered calls on Mercado Libre. Where do you stand on the Amazon versus Google debate? I am in the camp of, bro, let's not pick. And you know what? What's so funny is that like Amit says, oh, you're not allowed to pick one over the other. And I'm like looking at my portfolio and they're like almost exactly the same weight. And I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm picking one over the other. I think maybe the easier one to pick right. I mean, if I had to probably pick one, it'd probably be Amazon. But just because they don't really have a bear case. But the multiple is already increased. But whenever you're talking about really, really long-term, like what I've also realized, everyone talks about like in the short term, it's sentiment. In the long term, it's like a weighing machine, or short-term voting machine, long-term weighing machine. In the same way, valuation in the long term, quickly erased. So Google is shorter right now, which leads to better entry prices. But if you're talking about better long term, Amazon's just a better pick for me whenever you're talking about long term pick. Market is over frothy. I'm not so sure. It's like, what do you put on the value of a product that can think for itself and make decisions and action out those decisions? So you can have, like Jensen Huang recently on the All In podcast said 150 people could recreate what OpenAI did. What do you put on the value of 10xing, 20xing, 100xing someone's output? If productivity goes up that much, which so far it hasn't even shown a difference, but if it did, then that should lead to earnings on companies to go up, meaning that the higher PEs and the higher valuations that we're seeing are attributable to real higher growth rates with higher margins, because it's potentially less need for additional human capital. And a lot of the growth actually has come on the back of software subscriptions, which are obviously much cheaper. T-minus 8 minutes. Lisa, you're so right. You're so right. In 8 minutes, I'm doing another live stream. It'll be on this channel as well. So I'm just going to have to close this one and then quickly open another one. So if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Maybe hit the notification bell. You can put the notifications on so you know when I go live immediately. Oklo looks great. I sold in the 40s, but both Oklo and SMR are pre-revenue at this point. Yeah, that was my understanding. But when is revenue? What's the assumption for these businesses, like when they get their sites online and actually start selling some product, some energy? Let's see here. Any other questions? Anthropic is seeking to double the valuation in talks for a $150 billion valuation with Middle Eastern funds. BL with a $20 donation. AGNC contribute to the DGen ETF. If that is an ETF, I cannot purchase it, but it doesn't look like it's an ETF. Is this not an ETF? This is just a company? What is this? AGNC Investment Corp? What is this? Am I supposed to know this name? Maybe I don't recognize it right now. I'm not in with the DGen crew. It's a REIT? Well, we can get a REIT. We can get a REIT. That's fine. I don't think that breaks any rules. All right. Steve loves AGNC? Really? He's calling my portfolio DGen. Oh, no. Yeah, but why? It's not an ETF. Yeah, but if you're contributing to it, are you also contributing junk, or are you trying to make it better? I need people to make it better. BL, I will put it into AGNC. Thank you. But what's the bear case here? Or what's the bull case here? What's the hope? AGNC is known for having a high dividend. Yeah, dividend yield in the trailing 12 months, 14.83%. Crazy. All right. And I'm already starting to get like these tiny dividend checks that are popping up on my screen because of the community fund. So the dividend does help in the community fund. I don't know if Savvy Trader tracks it, but it's definitely working in the actual portfolio. Maybe we'll need to figure out what to do with the dividends, or do I just drip it back in? Ooh, we need to decide that for, like, especially if we have something with a 15% dividend going in. What do we do with dividends? Do we drip them back in, or do we create a cash pile? Drip. I think drip's the most easy thing to do. Just so then, like, if that's part of your investment case is that you want that name, that probably includes the dividend. Okay, drip. All right. Arm wrestle for the pot. Everyone likes a drip. Everyone does like a drip. It's so true. Drip to QQQ. I don't know. Can you set that up? I don't think I've ever set that up. I don't think I can drip it into another name. Is that a thing? If it is a thing, I've never done it. What do you think of short-term trading strategies like what Jason Paper Gain Profit does? Does it work? Is it replicable? I've never been able to do it. Clearly, there is some sort of strategy that some of the more TA specific people have been able to do and show replicable results, or not replicable results, but replicable for them, not maybe for their users, but something that they know how to do and continue to do. The way that I've always seen it is that I look at the billionaire investors, the people with 40-year investing timelines. There's not a whole lot of traders there. There's not a whole lot of TA guys there. There's not a whole lot of those types of people. So I've just always stuck with what works, which is from what I always see, is that it's fundamental investors and qualitative investors buying the best businesses. You see this in a lot of VC firms, like Y Combinator or something like this, where they've been pretty consistent and working. Or you see, the Warren Buffetts, the Peter Lynches, these sort of guys. When Tanner says, yeah, sorry, guys. Sometimes you need to let your brain think a little. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going live again on another show. I'm going to quickly have to shut this one down to switch it over to my other call, but don't you worry. We're going to be with guests. It's going to be mainly SoFi topics, and we're going to jump right into that right now. So see you guys all over there in less than 30 seconds. Really do appreciate your time. If you guys haven't subscribed already, hit that down below. That's all I ask of you. Bye for now.